Hey, it's Jackie and welcome back to my channel for Emily in Paris Season 2 hairstyles. There is something for everybody in here, whether you loved her polished curls, her party-ready pony, or if you want to challenge yourself, you can try to recreate this fishtail braided updo. Also, shout out to Brothers and Sisters. They are a small business who sent me these beautiful berets, so I wanted to feature them in this video because I thought it was very fitting, and I just love the big bow. So if you're not into bucket hats, definitely check these out, and I will be trying them on with the Emily in Paris inspired curls. So thumbs up if you enjoy, subscribe, and let's get into it. Emily's curls in Season 2 are even more perfect than Season 1. I'm brushing out my length, and the makeup look I was inspired by is when Emily is wearing that checkered bucket hat with a deeper lip. This tapered wand is from Bellamy, and I've had it for almost a decade now. It has never failed me. If your hair doesn't hold curl very well, you can add a bit of hairspray first, and then create a curl going away from your face with a 1-inch section. And catch the curl coming off of the iron into your hand and pin in place. We're not going to do this with the entire head because that would take quite a while, but it's important for the front strands to be extra perfect for this look and really hold their curl. And let's go to the other side again, curling away from the face. Instead of sectioning my hair into perfect sections, I really like to work around my head to speed it up for an everyday type of look. Now that we're working on the undersection, hold in place instead of pin curling and just scrunch in your hand. It'll be pretty hot on your hand, but this will make sure that the curl is cooling in the shape, and it also softens up the curl to be more like a wave without losing that bend. Also, let me know if you guys mind when I do the curling steps where I flip the camera, kind of TikTok style, otherwise you just can't see the hair length. Do you prefer when you see one image or when I just triple it? Because I've never asked and I'd love to know what you guys think looks better. And then with a smoothing brush, I added a tiny bit more hairspray, and I'm going to gently brush through, do a little scrunch with the wave, and a bit more spray. On the top layer, letting them down, giving a spray, and how I personally like to do this with my own curls is I'll lift a piece of the curl upwards and spray also upwards to get as much volume as I can. My hair is quite a bit longer than Emily's, and I like to have more body through the top, so this is how I would personally go with it. I might even tease the top layer a bit for longevity. But final touch is adding a bobby pin in the first bend of the curl around your face and tucking that under the hair for more of a defined bang-like section. If you have a bucket hat though, none of that matters up top. And to tone down the kind of fluffy curls I have going on and make them more Emily, I'm taking a hair oil. This one is OGX coconut milk, and I'll bring this through the curls, grouping them together, making them a little less poofy and more sleek. These will fall out throughout the day a bit, so I feel like Emily has a lot of different variations of these curls, but this is what I came up with, and I love the long comb fragrance. This one is the Emily in Paris packaging, which is so cute. And if bucket hats are not your thing, but you love a Parisian look, try a beret with a bow. These are from Brothers and Sisters Biz. I will tag them down below. And I love this white one. I also have this navy blue hat. Very posh. I wore it with this striped sweater that is also very Emily in Paris. If you love these as much as I do, be sure to check them out. And now for Emily's birthday ponytail. Oh, the drama that happened at her party. And if you'd like to see the real behind the scenes, I'll have the artists that I follow who actually work on set because they share behind the scenes photos and we can really get a better look at the styles. Brush your hair out and make sure you have a side part with a slight diagonal closer to the crown of your head. Again, with the smoothing brush, comb this up on one side into your hand while keeping that part. If you find this hard to have your hair cooperate, you could use some gel or hairspray. My hair is dirty here, so it made it easier, and I'm brushing the other sections, tying off with an elastic. Make sure you don't have any hair holes. You could touch up with a matte eyeshadow. And for the top section, it had a bit of a lift to it, so I'm taking the end of a comb and dragging this upwards through the top layer to get a bit of volume. It wasn't an intense poof or anything, otherwise we would want to do that beforehand, but I did notice it had a tiny bit of height and texture while the rest of the pony was very sleek. I almost always go with a really high pony, but I like this mid-high pony. I think it's really cute, and we're using the same curling iron to finish it off, but like I said, instead of wrapping it quickly around the barrel, keep the hair flat. So you can see here with my fingers, I'm making sure that the hair has the same curl pattern throughout, and we're going to pin it as it cools. I'm curling towards me throughout the pony all on one side, that way we get a ringlet. and take a small section of hair and wrap around the elastic and pin in place with bobby pins. And I didn't have a lot of time here because the light was going down, so hopefully the footage is okay, but the longer you can have those curls in place, the better. Add a bit of hairspray or shine serum, and there is the Emily ponytail. Her hair is quite a bit shorter, but this is a very similar look, and I just did a DIY top with a Victoria's Secret robe, but I'll have similar outfits also linked in the down bar. Oh, and I wore this look when I was cooking on my vlog channel, Jackie Vlogs. I have a series I'm doing called Jackie's Clueless Kitchen over there because I want to learn how to cook. I'm really bad at it, so check it out. It's a lot of fun. And moving on to look number 3, which is the finale fashion show look. For the last updo, the hairstylist probably did not do it this way, but this is how I've recreated the style so that it's doable on yourself, and I have some options to simplify the more time-consuming steps. Create a center part again, and before we pin the 2 sections backwards, I'm going to do the extra step of having a bit of teasing around the crown, and then I'm pinning that in place. I'll take this out in a second, I just am training the hair to fall backwards. And pick up a section from about where your eyebrow is upwards, create a small twist, and pin right at the top of the free-flowing hair. Also, take a side section from above your ear, and I'm going to pin this for later. Pick up the remaining piece from the pin back section. I'm taking out the bobby pins at the back there, and I'm going to use some of that hair to create a fishtail braid. And only with this top section, I'm going to add a bit of a French fishtail on the side nearest to my hairline to add more hair in. For a fishtail braid, you want to work with 2 strands. Take a small section from the outermost side and bring it over to the innermost side of the opposite strand. You could do a full French fishtail on both sides, but I'm just doing the one side to make it easier, and the only difference here is you add a small section from your hairline and also still a small section from the outermost piece, and then cross over. You could also do a lace Dutch braid here, and you only have to do this for a couple stitches so it's not too time consuming, and add a small elastic, and let's create volume by pinching and pulling the sides of the fishtail braid. And that step was the hardest part of it all because it is kind of behind your head and it's a bit awkward to do on yourself. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side as well, but I'm going to show how we complete the rest of the look on one side. There will be 3 fishtail braids in this look moving forward, so I sectioned off a bottom half and pushed it over to my shoulder before braiding the 2 sections together. So after that French fishtail, we're going to create a regular fishtail braid. Because we already have 1 section in an elastic, it makes it a lot easier, so take 2 sections in your hand again and start to create that crisscross back and forth. I find it easiest to have the fishtail over my shoulder once I've done a couple strands through the back. And you can zone out and create that fishtail braid. Leave some room when you add the elastic and start to tug on the sides so it begins to look a lot fuller. And to get a similar look to the inspiration photo, I folded that fishtail braid so it connects closer to the first fishtail. I'm sure the artist did it all in one go, but this is how I made it easier on myself. And we're going to create an S-like shape, adding in bobby pins secured to the head. This part is so fun. You don't have to try to do the exact design. No matter what you do, the fishtail braid will look super cool when it starts to bend. Taking that bottom section, I tossed over my shoulder, creating another fishtail braid. For this one, I could have added an extension so that it was the exact same fullness as the other 2, but once again, we're going to fan it out and this will be the bottom fishtail braid design. Let's repeat on the other side. Same steps where we began with that fishtail braid with a couple stitches of French fishtail on the side closest to the hairline. Create a basic fishtail braid all the way down the length. Create another S-like shape along the bottom neckline. And finally the top, again another S-like shape to fill up the entire updo. Use bobby pins that match your hair. I used gold ones here because I can see them. I'm a bit far from the mirror so I can't tell if a bobby pin is sticking out when I use brown or black, so that's why I did that. And then the side pieces, giving a bit of a curl to add some texture, adding a twist and pinning up into the top of the updo and then hiding the ends. It's pretty easy to hide your ends because there are a lot of loops under the fishtail design, and I think having these side pieces going slightly over gives a bit of texture and really ties it all together. I used a bubble wand. If you already have some texture to your hair, then you can just go with a twist and pinch and pull some pieces, adding into the updo. And hopefully the way I broke this down was easy to understand. And my favorite decoration in the hair was a beaded piece that went through the bottom section and peeked out from under the fishtail. As for the rest of the clips, I just winged it with a variety of silver combs and gold and pearl berets. Add them in between the fishtail braids to showcase the intricacy there, and I love this braided style, super fun with all the shine. Promise we're almost done. I noticed there was mini rhinestones, so I added those in there. That's my take on the fishtail braid. Be sure to tag me if you try out any of these looks. I would love to see how you recreated them as well. You will need the help of a second mirror to be able to position the fishtails how you want them. If you want to see an Emily in Paris makeup transformation, I did that in the first Emily Cooper tutorial on my channel. Or if you're loving a vintage look, check out the Sophia Loren tutorial, and I will see you guys in my next video.